So my name's Jenny, I'm 33 years old, nearly 34. I was first diagnosed with kidney disease when I was 17 years old. I just went to the doctors one day and I had a blood test. The next day I got called up at work to say that my kidneys had failed and that I needed to choose the dialysis in which I wanted to go on. The consultant had obviously seen me in the hospital. I went in with my parents and the consultant had gone through both dialysis in order for me to make a decision. And I got back to the room and my mum said to me, "So which dialysis do you think?" And I just said, "I don't fancy any of them, thanks." And it was I genuinely thought it was a choice. I didn't realise that it was one or the other kind of thing. And she just said, "No, you have to make a decision." And yeah, so it was, I'd never heard of dialysis before. I'd never known anyone with kidney failure. So yeah, I didn't even know what it was. So it was a massive shock, yeah. So I first chose peritoneal dialysis. And I think it was about 4 to 6 weeks before I started dialysis after having the tube fitted. And then after a year, I decided that peritoneal dialysis wasn't for me and I was going to have a fistula formed and changed onto haemodialysis. So at 18, I went onto haemodialysis. I tried to look on the internet and things like that, but there wasn't that much around with what I could see, and a lot of it was with older people. There wasn't really much around for younger people. So I thought, how my life's going to change and how it's going to get, I'm going to be able to live my normal life. But I did, yeah, I did. I had a lot of support from my mum and dad though, massive support from them. So I think that really does help as well. So when I first was diagnosed, I was given the option of peritoneal dialysis and haemodialysis. So obviously, as soon as they mentioned needles, haemodialysis went out the window. Haemodialysis wasn't for me. So I chose to go on peritoneal dialysis. It was fine. It's obviously a lot because it's every day. You've got a high infection risk. So, when you live in your normal life, you just need to make sure, I had a horse at the time, so I was in I did end up getting an infection and then I don't think it ever really went, so that was the main factor of my decision from moving from one to the other. And also I just thought I needed something a little bit stronger. So the haemodialysis was a little bit stronger. And I kind of needed that because I'd stopped passing urine, things like that, so I just wanted something where I knew I could take that amount off what I needed. I was gaining fluid and things like that, so this was just my other option. So I dialysed from 18 to 23 on haemodialysis at home, and my mum was my nurse. So she would get my dialysis machine ready for me and things like that, but I would always self-needle, so I've only ever self-needled, and obviously the renal unit. And then I had my transplant when I was 23, which gave me 9 amazing years. And then that failed when I was just before my 32nd birthday, and I came back on dialysis then. Obviously just jumped straight back onto haemodialysis, so it was just a case of when I was ready to go on dialysis, they just kind of left it up to me with my function kind of thing and how I felt, and then I just called the unit and got straight back on haemodialysis at that point. And then I wanted obviously to self-care, obviously with working, having a young child. My little boy was only 4 when I came back on dialysis, so I needed somewhere that had the flexibility in order to be able to dialyse when I wanted. So I worked myself up in the renal unit, so I started lining my machine, I started putting my needles back in myself, obviously because I'd been on this type of machine before, but I'd forgotten. Obviously in 10 years you forget, nearly 10 years you forget a lot. So I'd forgotten how to do my needles, and I still had them same nerves. I think the first time I came back on dialysis, the nurse was I was squeezing her hand, I was crying, I was really nervous. But then I just thought, no, I can do it, I've done it before. And with this unit, it just meant that I could do all the things in my life that I'm used to doing, but just fit dialysis into that. When I dialysed at home, obviously, I tended to do like 5-6 days a week dialysis sessions, because bless my mum, she'd help me by setting my machine up. So really all I had to do was get up and get myself on dialysis and then carry on with my day. And she kind of looked after all that side. So she was a great support. But then coming back on dialysis, obviously, like 10 years later, I'm a mum myself, so I couldn't be at home, like my mum and dad's house. So I needed somewhere where I could sort of do my own dialysis. I didn't want to be at home as such because of the stock, like you've got to have quite a bit of stuff. I didn't have that space. But also I kind of wanted to keep dialysis separate. So the way I sort of look at dialysis is like a job. So I go to my own job, I come home and I'm with my family, and the same here. I come to the self-care unit, I do my dialysis and I go home. And I think that's how I kind of accept that I'm on dialysis. It's a job to me. Like I just come do it and I go. But the self-care is amazing, as in I wouldn't be able to do all them things that I do if I wasn't either at home or at a self-care unit, because I would be stuck with what times I can go on dialysis. I would be told when I can. If I wanted to go away for the weekend, I'd have to arrange my dialysis at a unit around that, whereas I could just, if I came back at 1 o'clock in the morning from somewhere, I could just come and dialyse myself and then go home. So yeah, that's why I choose to dialyse in here. So I used to, like anyone, if I want to know something, so if I wanted to look at a food review of something, or a restaurant, I would search that on social media and I would see the food and I'd look at the menu and I'd be like, oh, that looks nice. So with TikTok, I was looking at things and searching other people on dialysis just to see how they do it, and it's a general interest to me. And then I would come across things and I thought, oh, that's a bit negative, or that's not how I do that. So I thought, why not start sharing my journey to help other people? So I put my needles in myself on dialysis. I go live throughout my dialysis session so people can see what actually does happen in a renal unit. There's lots of people that are just been diagnosed with kidney failure and they say they're not ready for dialysis yet, but they could be in the near future. So just really giving them like a little bit of hope that just because you're on dialysis, you can still work it around your life. And you just have to work out which dialysis is right for you. But that's why I share my haemodialysis journey, because a lot of people say about the needles being big, and I don't know how you do that to yourself, but I was needle phobic and I've managed to. So if I can do it, anyone can, because I was petrified of needles, absolutely petrified. So yeah, that's why I share my TikTok. Share my TikTok videos on there, and I'm getting my live videos, they hit a lot of people and they're coming up as popular lives, so people are interested in what you do. And there's always going to be someone that knows someone with kidney disease, whether it be the first stages of kidney disease or if they're actually on dialysis. There's always going to be someone that knows someone, because it is, a lot of people do it.